What up? Today we are going to break down our very first deal. So we're going to go step by step on the details of how we got it, what we did to get it under contract, how we got the buyers, and eventually how it closed. So like and subscribe, okay? Make sure you guys are asking questions if you guys have any. I'm going to do it on here. Obviously, below you can see what exactly we're doing on the app that we're using to find this property or to skip trace it and to get a hold of the owner. So first of all, we reverse wholesaled our first deal. And what reverse wholesale means is basically you find the buyer first. Now we traditionally don't always do it like that, but it was our first deal, so we kind of fell upon this strategy. So we were walking down the street with our kid, and there was a little boy across the street, and my daughter was like, "Oh, that's my friend," and he's like, "Oh, that's my friend," and we're like, "You guys don't even know each other." And so anyway, mom came out, we started talking. Turns out they were investors, so we didn't know who they were. Eventually they became friends of ours, and we still talk to them to this day. They still have this property to this day. It was a buy and hold property.
And at that point, we were already wholesaling by basically shooting in the dark down in Dallas, Tarrant County, just trying to drive down there 45 minutes away, trying to figure something out, right? Just driving for dollars, making lists, not knowing what the heck we were doing, no direction to go. And so this kind of gave us that right point in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. And we just asked them, what area are you looking for? What area are you buying in? What area are you, seeing that it has more growth? And so they told us the county, which is out in Grayson, which is where we found our first few deals. And so this one in particular was in Pottsboro. There's a picture of the property right here. And then it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, I think, something like that. It had a pretty decent sized yard and had a barn connected to it and stuff. So they still have the property to this day, and that's 4 years ago. Anywho, so that's how we started this process. So essentially, we just went driving for dollars. We went out to that area. We started driving around looking for ran down, beat up houses. We came across this one. It was right next to a Sonic on a pretty busy street, and so we looked at it. And then my wife, obviously, she went in here and to put the property address in that we skip trace. Came up with the owner's phone number. Guy named Darren. Now we use PropStream to skip trace, so it's gonna be a little bit more accurate. You can use TruePeopleSearch.com or White Pages. You can use CyberBackgroundChecks.com. Hell, you can use Google. Okay, figure out how to find these people's own these homeowners' phone numbers. But give them a call. As you can see, the name is right there, Darren. One Moon is the people that we sold it to. Well, that's not their name, but so it has all the property information here. Okay, as if you scroll up, you can see we sold it to them for $160. Right now, how a rental property works, because that's what this was. Right, this wasn't a fix and flip. This was a rental property. So if a flipper buys it, they are looking at the lowest amount that they can get it for because they want to be able to flip it for a higher price. Now, that means that they need 60 to 65%, 70% rule is what we're talking about here. Now, with a buy and hold buyer, they're playing the long ball, right? They're playing for the long haul, which means that they'll buy it at 80 to 85% of the value, right? Now, they painted it?
I guess so.
Oh, they painted it. Look at that. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
No, that's not. Is that it? And
yeah,
put a fence.
Because he used to have the wooden things going on there.
That's nice. So a buy and hold buyer wants to get this property. They didn't do nothing to the inside. 1%, right? They're renting it. If you go back to the front, they're renting it right now for $23.67. So that means that a good deal would mean that they would have bought it at $230,000. So they got it for $160, and they're renting it. So they're making like $600 to $800 a month off this one property, and that is high, dude. Because the average property is around $200, $300. But they're with saving $300 for what ifs and stuff like that. They're making about $600 to $700 on this property every month. That is a deal and a half.
Oh, yeah, because rent used to go for about 1,200.
See, because rent, yeah,
5 years ago.
5 years ago, rent was going for 1,200. Now, 2,300, and I'm sure it's rented because they know what they're doing. They've got a lot of connections and stuff like that. But anywho, so how did we analyze this deal? Basically, like I said, we found the property, we ran the numbers on it, right? Running your comps, you have to be pretty accurate when it comes to that. I'll let my wife kind of dig into the details on the comps and what she's looking at when she's evaluating whether or not it's a deal. And then, we can kind of discuss the negotiation after that.
Pause it. All right, so we got this property under contract November 25th of 2020. I went about 3 months prior. Year bill, it was built in 1940, so I'll do 1930 to 1950. And that kind of got rid of everything. So I'm going to go a little bit further out. Anything? Okay. So what that kind of tells me is maybe some of these don't actually have year built, so I'm just going to kind of leave that alone for right now. And where did all of those properties go? There were a bunch more that were popping up. It does have the year bill. Okay. Whatever. Prop stream's kind of cool where it has the rental prices along with how much the house is sold for. So obviously if we only have one comp at 175 290, right? Price per square foot 127.48. So if I put that into the calculator won't be shown on here, but 1350 times 127.48, that puts our ARV at about 172. Okay, because it was a buy and hold, nothing really needed to be done to it. We did 85%. That's about 146. So we got the property under contract at 150.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. They didn't really need to do anything to it.
No.
And that's the thing. As you can see in the pictures, they still didn't do nothing to it.
Well, and that's just one comp 3 months away. So ideally, we like 3 comps. So if I did that, that gives us quite a bit more to work with.
Yeah. But that's basically the rundown of how we came across it. Like I said, when you have a property that's a buy and hold, which is what they were looking for, then you don't have to worry about it getting it extremely low. Obviously, you still want it low enough to make sense, but like you said, 146, because we were trying to sell it to them for 165.
Yeah.
But they weren't happy with that, so we went to 160, and which actually turned out to be a pretty good deal for us because we made 10 grand on it. That's the picture right here. So that's the rundown of kind of what our comps look like. Now in the negotiation with Mr. Darren, I kind of came at him at 135 that I would offer, and he was like, I figured you'd come at 135, so let's meet at let's meet at 155. And I was just like, I could do 150 if that makes sense. And he's just like, all right, that's fine. And that's what, like I said, new negotiations, you kind of go back and forth. His motivation was, so Darren had multiple properties he had probably about 12 different properties that were right where he lived. And this one property was, 10 miles away or something like that, yeah. 10, 15 miles away. He didn't want to have to manage that property from so far out. And so he was like, I just need to get rid of it. I'm tired of coming all the way out here and managing it and keeping it rented and dealing with repairs on it and this and that. He was more of a mobile home kind of guy, rental, right? So he'd buy mobile homes for like 10 grand and then he would rent them out for $1,200-$1,500 a month. So that was his niche, and that's what he wanted to buy. So he developed the land, and then he would put the property on the land and then rent them out, and that's what his income was. So the negotiation was pretty smooth. It was a bit back and forth. Now, even though we had a buyer, here's some of the things that we learned during this time. Okay, as you can see in the contract here, we got this property in November. We didn't close on it until February of 21.
I believe.
So that's why I tell people it took us 4 months to close our first deal, which is ridiculous, right? Let's see. When did we close on it? Because we have a closing date.
As you can see on PropStream, they took ownership on the 28th.
The 28th of January. So basically February. So we closed February, whatever, 2nd, 3rd, whatever. 1st, something like that. I seen the check. The check, you'll see it you can see it in the check when we show you guys. But so think about that. So this is why I tell people it took us 4 months to close our first deal. It actually didn't take but a month for me to get that deal under contract. So we got our first deal within a month, you guys. So October 5th of 2020 was my first was my last day of working a job. November 20th, we had a deal under contract. That's our first deal, but that ain't our first contract. Okay, we had some other stuff happen during the way, but
we had quite a few contracts and canceled them, and it was a rough road.
It was an interesting ride, but we were winging it. We're doing it on our own, so that's why we want to make this kind of video so you guys can see, what it looks like, how it plays out, the different scenarios. Every deal's different. Every single one of our deals has been different. And so we want you guys to kind of get an idea of what this looks like, because this is just a deal that we went over. I mean, we can give you 5 different scenarios of different other deals, and every one of them is going to have a different outcome. Different number, different price. Some of them are 4,000, 5,000, some of them are 20,000, 40,000, whatever. But the point is that when we got this property under contract, it took us only a month. But I was grinding. I was going hard because I had already quit my job. So if you put in the effort and you guys put in the consistency that it takes.
$100 earnest money.
Look at right there, $100 earnest money deposit. But people keep saying, "Oh no, you got to put money down and this and that." And honestly, we didn't even have to put that because they put $5,000 down, I believe. So we could have used their $5,000 for the earnest money deposit, but we just, like I said, we were just winging it. So we didn't know. But as you can see on here, this is everything in the contract, you guys. This is what we did. This is the same contract that we use to this day. We still use this.
Updated.
Obviously, it's updated, but it's still the Trek, right?
Yeah.
Go to the top. So if you scroll up to the top, look, Texas Real Estate Commissions.
And the way that looks on the Texas website is.
And this is what it looks like on the website. So it's a contract.
It's for everybody to use.
Yeah. So it's just a contract, you guys. I mean, the contracts are, they're right there. They're available for you guys. So when you guys keep, getting people, where do I get contract? Go right here. Okay. Now, Texas obviously is different. Every state, run the contract by your title company in your state, so that way you can make sure that there's no issues with what they're doing. Make sure that they understand what you're doing.
So keep in mind too, is that they're intended to be used by real estate agents, but it's because they're trained in their correct use. So keep in mind that these are legally binding contracts, so know what the heck you're doing before you actually do it. But they are public records, so anybody can use them.
Yeah. And like I said, we ran it by our title company. We use Tiago Title. Okay, they're based out in Plano?
Yes.
Plano. It was our first time ever, using a title company. They worked with us. Terry was great. It worked out great for us. We made our first 10 grand on this deal. They helped us along the way, which was great. Because we had a lot of questions. We didn't really know exactly what we were doing, and we were new wholesalers. So Terry kind of helped us out in that aspect, which is great for us. I still remember her walking out to the car, giving us that check.
Because we had the kids in the car.
Yeah, because we had kids. So, and I have a video of it too, of us getting the check, and it was a relief to know that this is possible. But at the same time, we knew we were still just barely floating, and so that's why we want to show you guys our first deal, so that way you can see the trials and tribulations we went through, because we had to renegotiate with our buyers too. Like, they didn't want to take 165. They're like, that's 10%.
And they didn't want their earnest money to be non-refundable. They wanted it to be refundable.
Yep.
Because the closing date was originally January 8th, instead of paying with cash, which is what they said they were going to use, they're just like, oh, well, we have plenty of time, so we're going to go ahead and go get a traditional loan. So then they had to go and get an appraisal done, and then it took even longer, and wasn't until January 28th.
Surveys, inspections, electricians going out there. Oh, we probably went out there, what, 4 times, 5 times?
And it's not close.
It's not close. I mean, it's a good 30, 40 minutes away from us, but you do what you got to do to make it work. You know what I mean? So I hope you guys got some value out of it. Like and subscribe. Make sure you guys are asking questions if you guys have any. We'd love to answer them for you. So until the next video, we appreciate you guys. Get out there, solve some problems, help some people, and stay blessed.